Good morning. Well, that rally was short-lived off of the lows yesterday. A technical bounce, typical. Good morning. Good morning. So we see, looking at the futures here, they dipped down below yesterday's low, and this was the rally, the bounce there, right into the breakdown area, right there to the left, and you got a wide range bar ending, greater than 100% retracement. So various MTS concepts, you know, and so now just flatten out here, and we're back to what's going to happen now. So here's this should be relatively significant support area in the short term on the S&Ps. Got a pivot low. We've got the rising 50 MA. A break below here will break the uptrend by breaking below major support. No connecting dots needed. If you apply the concepts from MTS and just pivots, higher highs, higher lows, once it makes a higher high and breaks down below the prior low, it'll break a trend line every single time. No use for trend lines. They're meaningless anyway. But anyway, a break below here violates the trend on the daily time frame. The depth of retracement already has it in question, in addition to a wide range bar to the downside, which would be an igniting type of bar after making a new all-time high. Now, the weekly time frame obviously is still up, and we really don't know how extensive this correction might be, but on the weekly time frame, it just barely made a new all-time high. One of the things that we talked about, I think it was in MTS, Dan and I talk about so many concepts related to the technicals, either in the green room or the MTS. I tend to lose track of them, but they're all ways of interpreting what we call the thought process. And so this was fantastic momentum as it came out of this retest pattern here. And while that was a wide range bottoming tail bar, on this time frame, which you can see right here, that kind of bar is not bullish as a bottoming tail bar, since it was preceded by a strong move. But then it got this retest and this move up. So one of the things we talked about as far as trend analysis is that, look, after a pullback, you want to see another relatively powerful move. It doesn't have to be the same as this one, but you want to see prices push up above the prior pivot high that it retraced from. And I can't give you an exact amount, but you eyeball it, and you just know that it was a stronger move. And if you can measure it if you want to, get out your protractor or just count the value or do a percentage wise thing. Even after the time, you just look at it and just know, hey, that was a good move after the pullback, another powerful move. When it just barely takes out the high and then forms a red bar, and we still got today and tomorrow, this could be a bottoming tail bar and it could be a continuation pattern. We don't know yet. But assuming it's a red bar and it goes a little deeper down into here, well, then we know momentum slowed down. The retracement on the daily time frame is deep. The deeper it gets to major support, the more bearish it is, the more probability it's going to break the trend. And then that opens up the door to a larger correction on this time frame, which could bring it all the way back down here or wherever. As things develop, we'll get a better idea about that. So we take, what's happening, see how it develops today. A little buying that's going on here in this whippy range. Not too much to take away from this for the moment. Just erratic and whippy. All right, looking at SPX is not SPS day, but you see yesterday it stopped right in the area of the 20 MA. It tagged that. This was a big level in the open interest. There's another big level down here to keep an eye on into the end of the week if this correction should continue to go lower. And it's right in the area of this prior pivot low. This one was in the area of an unfilled gap. And most of the time, these things line up with what's to the left. Keep an eye on those. And the Dow cut through the fifth rising 50 MA. And major support is way down here, but this couldn't even make a higher high. And we talked about this in the letter when these topping tails began to form. And then this one was an obvious one, range expansion topping tail, and the 180 retesting that was bearish, the attempt to go up, another topping tail. So all individual signs of distribution. And everybody was waiting for the news. And here we go. Sell off. And so now look to the left. And possible target area down here. And we'll see what today brings. Weekly chart, you can see lower high. There's the pivot, rising 20 MA, big whole number down here. We'll see where this ends with. This starting the way down, and then yesterday's wide range bar. Right? Those who've been around for a while, most of the time these wide range bars on a daily end with a, not end, but result the next day with a narrow range bar. So that could be what we're in for. Now, if on the other hand, we get another wide range bar today to the downside, and that's going to be a real confirmation that yesterday people, I'm just going to say hedge funds and investors really took that to heart versus just a technical situation where, there was the sell-off on the news, whatever was hedged, it bounced back up. We see it went down, this morning looking at the futures, but two wide range bars in a row, that's powerful. And you're going to get a big weekly bar, but as always, let's see what today brings. Dow futures, extended down a little bit. They're not into any significant support here. Let me just look to the left here. First of all, let's see where we're going to drag this down to based on the hourly chart. We can go back that far, and we can. And so it's getting close, right? Usually I'd like to see him come all the way down here, but it's close to that support, and you get a pivot. So once it gets a pivot, you can see pivot, pivot. Now it's got a higher low and a bottoming tail bar. It looks like it wants to bounce here a bit. So this led the way down. Today may be the outperformer since it's extended to the downside, and you can see the wide range bar. And Qs. That was showing the relative strength. You can see the reversal, the continuation pattern and measured move, got above the high. And so this pullback really not too ominous, compared to the Dow, of course. And here it's, it's pushing back up, showing some strength. So some buying showing up here. Whether this is another, intraday beginning of a sucker rally. This is what I was mentioning early in the week and in the letter, this going up here, sucker rally type of thing based on our internals, which, while improved slightly, they're nowhere near to tell us, the coast is clear. So, little ups and downs that occur on the way to the destination is normal. And if you're nimble, of course, you can trade those little ups and downs intraday. And the Dow, not the Dow, the Russell, which was showing strength. I thought maybe it could get above that high, but no, couldn't do it. Got really close. But if this can hold up in this area, wherever this market does correct to, which we'll know in the next week or so, if this can hold up here, this might be able to lead the way up. And if it can show some relative strength, to this nice move that it had. So let's see if it can hold this area. You can see that there's still buying on the dip as it comes down here and it comes back up again. So something we'll be keeping an eye on, obviously into tomorrow and next week to see if it can continue to hold this area. The 30-year up a little bit of a turn. So now that it's done this, part of the what we call the factory work is, it turned back up. It's up at this pivot. What is the price action here? Does it go right back down again, or does it go sideways? The longer it can go sideways, the greater the possibility of then moving back up again. So that'll take a little while to develop. There's the 10-year. It's kind of weird. That's weird. I don't know if that's right. These are the continuous contracts. I'd have to put in the that is weird. I don't know. I'll have to think about that and look at that because they typically move in lockstep with each other. That's the 30-year. The other was the 10-year. Interesting. All right. So as I'm looking at this, okay, back to the inflation trade and what's been going on here. So we'll see where this ends. And so the weekly chart, as this was starting to break down, right? Now that it's got this green bar, and we'll see if it's green at the end of the week. But this, regardless of what it is, right? It's a 10-year yield, but regardless of what it is, when we see this kind of a momentum move, I mean, look, major support based on pivots is way down here. Right? This here has only got 2 bars to the left. So historically, 3 works really well, but we have to use a little common sense, right? So this is a support area, even though this software is not marking this as a pivot because I didn't tell it to mark things with only 2 bars to the right or the left and a whole bunch. But this is a giant momentum move, which created a void. And we talked about this head and shoulders and it broke down. And one of the things mentioned, I think I mentioned probably earlier in the week, was that like this suggested it's going to go down. But I mentioned if this could rip right back up in here again, all bets are off for this going lower. And so when you get this kind of a momentum move, a lot of people refer to this kind of a correction where it makes a lower high and a lower low as a bull flag. This being the flagpole, and this is your flag, as if it's waving in the wind, so to speak, with the pivots forming like that. So if this can close like that at the end of the week, the depth of retracement back into this distribution pattern, that's pointing to higher interest rates. And I don't know, it's going to be really interesting how this plays out. We talked about the euro and the dollar, and of course gold got shellacked, on the strength, the turnaround in the dollar, and they're connected. You see, gold just got crushed as the dollar began to bottom out. So it ain't getting to 2000, not in the near term anyway. And silver, suffered the same clobbering. So the dollar and these metals have these inverse relationship, and now crude oil. You got this administration just doing their best to make us pay a lot of money for gasoline. They're devious people. and their Green Deal and so on. But they keep shutting down supplies. Sending the oil from Russia now over to Germany, which I thought was so interesting. If you watched that yesterday, I don't know. I don't know what that's saying about proud to be an American. It seems to be getting tarnished, but my opinion. But what they're doing here is going to support oil and, of course, oil stocks. And transports. Are they going to start dropping again? So we got some mixed messages here, but this is not looking very good. Interest rates, see if they perk back up again. Obviously, the correction that was signaled by our market internals about 2.5 weeks ago is playing out. So far, not a very big correction. It didn't suggest anything of real magnitude, but corrections, whether it's 5% or 10% or, we'll know when it's over and things come together again. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. So things are playing out as I said might for the Fed meeting. 3 major whips. Don't get excited about how we close, except for day trading. We didn't put on a single swing trade. We were very cautious into this, and I think I even said, don't be surprised if we open up today at the lows, and we did. Now we're bouncing. And I also said, typically, the 10th, whatever happens after 10:30 reversal, now I'm ready to start trading in that direction. So my bias actually is at 10:30, either trade the highs or trade the lows. I ideally, for me, since I would like the market to sell off more, is we keep bouncing here into 10:30 and whatever, then we come down here, retest the lows, and then they fail to bounce, and then we make new lows. That would kind of be an ideal setup that I would like to see. But yeah, transports look horrible. That looks like a short under the low. We'll see what the futures are doing. I don't want to short this alone if the other markets are bouncing, but this is definitely on our list to short. We got out of a lot of inventory. We're actually flat in the weekly options trader, but I'm sure we'll find some things today. LOW was on our short list yesterday. SAM, TTD. I don't see any pattern there. It's in a trading range here. It's perking a little bit resistance. Nothing's jumping out at me there, Sam. Workhorse, maybe a day trade long, 10, 15-minute high. F 15. Yeah, that ain't bad. Kind of it's a deep pullback. So don't expect a new high, but that's worth watching. Right, CCIB. Yeah, this was Janet bought some of this in the afternoon little breakout. This was one of my favorite longs if you did want to nibble onto something. So that looks good. So 22 put spread. Yeah, I like it. Go through your checklist, of course, which is you gave me the strikes, you got to give me the premium. Are they liquid? Any pending news? But yeah, I like it. Another short. It's gapping up and pulling back, but it is in an ugly downtrend on the daily. So yeah, yeah, I would say after 10 a.m. under yesterday's low. Yeah, that looks lower. As for Oliver, Thomas, Apple Neo, Apple. I have no idea what you're looking at. I mean, over yesterday's high, I like it, but it's gapping down into the the bottom half of the day's range. So it's a big fat neutral. There's nothing. There's nothing. Here, look, I like Citigroup better. I mentioned this yesterday. I like this W bottom, wide range igniting and bullish consolidation with a price wood. And now look at Citi pre-market. So for a day trade, I think Citi is, it's moved here a little bit, but that's a superior setup to me over Apple, just in the middle of no man's land. I'm looking at all the fangs and they're all pretty much a mess. And as I said already, things can whip around here in the first hour. Yeah, run. We were watching yesterday, Red Bar Nord, nice volume on the breakout. I had this as a put spread on Tuesday or Monday rather, and then I canceled it because of the red bar. And this is what happens sometimes. I cancel it and then you get a 180 reversal breakup. But it's worth watching, Sam. WSM, short daily weekly. It does look lower. The only problem, Alex, is it's been falling for a while. We like to short closer to resistance because where would you put your stop? So instead, what you want to do is short a little bounce of some sort, bounce and reversal. Around over yesterday's high. Yeah, that's very strong. I like it. I like it, boss. I'm over yesterday's high. It's it's a continuation pattern right here after breaking out. I like it. TIRX. Yeah, I just saw this thing going by the ticker. Look at I don't know what is going on with this thing, but today might be the something something bar. Look at this Clovis. My Robinhood man told me about this. He said it's on the short squeeze Reddit boy list. So I have that in the bottom right. Let's keep an eye on that. I posted NNOX is a long watch. Nice gap breakout here. Yesterday, MT Live was on gaps. So look, it's gapping. So this I love. It's gapping just over resistance. I love that. And it gapped up. It's a bullish. It's coming in here. This is a buy setup pre-market. Ken, you're dropped in. Oh, hey Ken. Yeah. Ken is my Robinhood friend. So yeah, CLVS, Ken, bottom right here. I put it. Any gappers or tier ones, I put in a little 5-minute window. But hey, Ken, where you're typing to me, hit that little arrow and change it. Um, Ken, you're saying that you can't hear me? Um, Greg, maybe if you don't mind helping Ken there while I continue, he's the new member. IHRT for John Wong, your drop down also. iHeart looks great. Strong uptrend, very strong uptrend, bullish daily, weekly, relative strength to the market. Hell, look at this. What you see what jumps out at me is relative strength. 1400 was the Fed news, right? Boom. This just went up all afternoon as the market was having a tizzy. So that looks great. I like it. iHeart. So I'm going to put that on a different window on my screen, my other computer. AMC. It's for one DTE, $75 call. I like RCL. I read in the paper they had their first cruise set for July 3rd, ahead of the holiday, obviously. And the paper said 7 or 8 of their crew got corona, so they're postponing it to the end of July. But this is a deep retracement. This is exactly where it should turn. So that's worth watching. The other cruise ships, they're all trying to make the turn right here. Yeah, gold got whacked. I saw some guy on CNBC yesterday, it was either into the close or right after it, saying, I'm buying gold here. Well, if he did what he said he's gonna do, he has a stomach ache this morning. Look at that. That is a nasty, nasty gap. Now, see, so Greg, answer this for me. Now, I know the dollar popped, obviously, but, you know, I- I've been telling people, it takes a while for things to digest, okay? So, yes, it sold off yesterday on the news, but why did it not sell off more? Nothing changed from yesterday to today. So, it's kind of another example of things digest overnight after Fed meetings. That is a nasty gap. Wow, that's the biggest gap. Well, here is a nasty one here last November. Wow. All right, Innox. All right, so I'm watching that. AON. This is a bear 123. If it closes like this is the one Debbie said. AON. They're trying to the press busters trying to halt the merger. UONE, they're doing a secondary offering, I read, and I don't blame them. Like I told you the other day, the colonel said there's 11 trillion in new debt from these companies from Corona, and when they're stock rich like this, I would do the exact same thing. Go raise money in the equity markets at these high valuations. All right, CVAC. Wow. Oh, this was one. Look at this whackage. That they came out and said their coronavirus um, medicine is not effective. A recent IPO. This is my girl, Jessica Alba. It's a mess. All right, Lennar. Yeah, so Lennar had earnings and 30-minute high. McGraw, if there's any juice, put spread for tomorrow on Lennar, 30-minute high. Ken, your Clovis, bottom right, little window here. It looks good, Ken. If this is a Reddit toy, like you said, I personally don't like trading in the first 5 minutes, but it's bullish price action right now. ABM. Well, McGraw, it's earnings, so I personally would wait, particularly since it's after a Fed day. Just that's me. Oh, hey Ken, do you see where you are typing to me? And then it says TO colon, and there's a drop down. Hit that drop down and change it to all panelists and attendees. Because otherwise, when I answer your question, people don't know what I'm talking about. All right, cool. Jabil had earnings, no pattern. Kroger earnings, getting whacked. EMC, no pattern. There's Clovis, Oxy. Oxy is a 1, 2, 3 if it closes like this. And we said that yesterday into the close. Oil has been strong. OIS, this was one we were trying to get on a pullback yesterday and we didn't get filled. Playa, little breakout here, nice reversal bar.